We're often taught to think about finance as this math-based field, right? A hard science where if you just follow the right formulas, you're gonna get the right results. But what if I told you that has almost nothing to do with it? The truth is, managing money is way more about psychology and human behavior than it is about spreadsheets. And to really get this, let's start with a story that completely flips everything we think we know about wealth on its head. To see just how little the math can matter, let's look at the tale of two very different investors. Their story? Well, it reveals the central paradox of money. So in one corner, you've got Ronald Reed. He was a janitor and a gas station attendant in rural Vermont. His life was incredibly humble. One of his main hobbies was just chopping firewood. And in the other corner, Richard Fuscone, a Harvard-educated, high-flying executive at Merrill Lynch who lived in this massive mansion with like 11 bathrooms and 2 swimming pools. Now, if you just looked at their resumes, you'd think you'd know exactly which one ended up a multimillionaire, right? Well, you'd be wrong. So when Ronald Reed passed away in 2014, this super quiet janitor suddenly made international news. And it wasn't because he won the lottery or had some secret inheritance. Nope. It was because his life savings, which he'd patiently invested for decades in simple blue-chip stocks, had grown to over $8 million. And what about the financial expert, Richard Fuscone? Well, he borrowed a ton of money to keep up that lavish lifestyle. And when the 2008 financial crisis hit, bam! His high debt and illiquid assets just wiped him out. Completely. He declared bankruptcy. The Harvard expert went broke. The janitor died a philanthropist. So here's the crucial point. Think about it. In what other industry could someone with zero formal training so massively outperform a Harvard-educated expert? It doesn't happen in surgery or engineering, right? But with money, your behavior, your patience, your humility, your long-term outlook, that is a way more powerful asset than your credentials. The story of the janitor and the executive, it's not just some weird anomaly. It actually reveals a fundamental truth. We've been taught to see finance as a hard science, but it's not. It's a soft skill, where how you behave is pretty much the only thing that matters. Think about it like this. Physics has laws. A bridge either stands or it falls. It's totally objective. But finance is driven by human behavior, which is messy, emotional, and completely subjective. How I behave with my money might seem absolutely crazy to you, but believe me, it makes perfect sense to me in the moment. And that's why, if you really want to understand why people bury themselves in debt, you don't study interest rates. No. You study the history of human greed, our deep-seated insecurities, and our wild swings of optimism. That's where the real answers are. Okay, so this leads us to this really fascinating kind of counterintuitive idea. From our own point of view, none of us are ever actually crazy with our money. Check this out. Your personal experience with money is this tiny, infinitesimally small fraction of all financial events that have ever happened in history. And yet, it forms about 80% of how you believe the world works. Our own tiny personal reality completely dominates our financial worldview. It's kind of nuts. For instance, let's say you were born in 1970. The stock market grew tenfold during your impressionable teens and 20s. You likely see stocks as this incredible wealth-generating machine. But if you were born in 1950, the market went absolutely nowhere during those same years. Your view of stocks would be radically different. And here's the thing, neither person is smarter. They just had different experiences that literally shaped their financial DNA. This brings us to a really interesting question. In the US, the lowest income households spend, on average, $412 a year on lottery tickets. Now, to a higher earner, watching someone who can't cover a $400 emergency spend that much on the lottery might seem completely irrational. But is it really? But when you look closer, you realize they aren't paying for the odds. They're paying for a dream. For many, that lottery ticket represents the only tangible chance, however small, of getting a lifestyle that higher earners simply take for granted. From that perspective, it's not crazy at all. It's a rational purchase for a feeling of hope. And that's the big takeaway here. Every single financial decision a person makes, no matter how it looks to an outsider, is justified by their own unique mental model of how the world works, built from their own unique experiences. So, what's the takeaway for you? It's recognizing that you and everyone else operate based on a unique personal money story that dictates your every financial move. In a world that wants to treat finance like it's just a math problem, it's so crucial to remember that we aren't spreadsheets. We are emotional, beautifully complex humans, trying to navigate a game where behavior trumps all. So I'll leave you with this. Take a moment to think about your own experiences, where you grew up, what your parents taught you, the economy you came of age in. What is your personal money story telling you to do? And is it still serving you today?